Early voting is underway in Virginia's high-stakes governor's race, and also up for grabs is the Commonwealth's second highest office, lieutenant governor. Senator Ghazala Hashmi and John Reid are competing for the coveted position, and the winner will preside over the Virginia Senate and, of course, cast tie-breaking votes on critical legislation. That person would then also assume the role of governor if the elected governor is, for any reason, unable to serve. This week, 7 News is highlighting some of the issues that these nominees could advance or stall in the Virginia legislature, issues that could also define the general election across 3 statewide races. 7 News sister station in Lynchburg sat down with the lieutenant governor nominees, and here are their positions on how those federal workforce cuts are impacting Virginia's economy.
This state has dropped from 1st to 4th in the list of America's top states for business. You've criticized the Trump administration for cutting federal workforces, which is mostly impacting Northern Virginia. What would you do to attract more businesses, more jobs in and around this area?
Well, we have such an abundance of wealth just through our colleges and universities, and Lynchburg is home to so many fine institutions. And that is really the attractive piece for so many companies, corporations, businesses that are seeking to do business here in Virginia. They need a workforce that is talented, skilled, ready to hit the ground running on the emerging jobs that we have. And that is the key to attracting business. And so the more we support our education system, and that starts with pre-K all the way through our institutions of higher learning, our career and technical programs, the better position Virginia is to attract that kind of economic development.
That was the Democratic nominee for lieutenant governor, Ghazala Hashmi. Now here's the Republican nominee, John Reid's response to that question.
What would you do to attract more business and jobs here?
Yeah, well, I worked at the United States Chamber of Commerce as the head of communications there. I worked with CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies and mom and pop startups. The number one thing that has to be saved in Virginia this 4-year period is the right to work. And it's shocking to me that Democrats like Mark Warner and Tim Kaine and Chuck Robb and Jerry Balaus, they would never have repealed the right to work in Virginia. If we lose that, that means you're forced to join a union, whether you want to or not. Money will be forcibly removed from your paycheck. And these businesses, they're not coming here. Guess where they're going? Bristol, Tennessee. They're going to North Carolina. They're going to South Carolina. Right now, we're the northernmost state with the right to work. It is a huge reason that companies choose Virginia to locate and expand. We better not lose that. The Democrats promise they'll take that away. And I promise you that I will not let that happen. I think Winsome Sears feels very strongly about it, too.
Okay, joining me now to discuss the contrast on the issues of Medicaid access in Virginia is Dr. Kara Ong-Whaley, Executive Director of Better Choices for Democracy. She also currently teaches in the Department of Politics at the University of Virginia. And political science professor Gary Nordlinger from George Washington University in studio with me. Gary, we'll start with you. Hashmi links economic strength to investing in education, while Reid ties it to labor policy. Which message aligns more closely with the concerns of Virginia voters?
Oh, I would say Hashmi's probably does, because she's actually talking about education. Now, John Reid has an education section on his website, so I don't know why he jumped to right to work on that question, in all honesty. But again, you know, John Reid is giving you the traditional Republican answer of right to work. We want to attract new businesses, stay business friendly, and the Democrats are talking more about social issues.
Kara, what do Virginia voters want to hear about on this?
So we have just seen consistently that concern over jobs, pricing, affordability, inflation is the #1 issue among voters, and that's no surprise. So this is really going to be the motivating issue, the #1 issue in this election, and I think there's going to be some mixed results, particularly in the Northern Virginia, in Northern Virginia, where there's been a loss of jobs with what's happening at the federal level. And that is also playing out. But I think what voters really want are practical plans for how these candidates are going to address affordability and cost of living in the state, as well as practical plans for retooling the economy as we are in a rapid transition.
Kara, Hashmi appeals to the long-term investments, talking pre-K through higher ed. Reid's talking more about immediate business incentives. How do voters respond to the kind of long-term versus short-term strategies?
Well, I think right now voters want to see something that's going to make a difference today. So that is going to matter. So some combination of both is really what's needed. And what we really need are politicians from across the aisle to work together to address some of these pressing issues that voters want to see resolved.
Gary, how does this argument land in rural versus urban areas?
Well, I think everybody is concerned about the quality of public education, no matter where you live. You know, especially if you have children, but even if you don't, you realize that's important to potential employers and everything else. And as I say, candidates from both parties are talking about public education. They're just talking about different approaches to improving it.
Yeah, and I think that's where the nuance is. All right, thank you very much for that. Early voting in Virginia's November election is underway, and to learn more about where the nominees for lieutenant governor's position stand on this issue, just visit WJLA.com or scan the QR code on your screen. And starting Monday at 5 p.m., our panel will break down the contrasting opinions in the Attorney General's race.